Hi guys, this is Sagar. Welcome to Carbike 360 podcast. So today we have Asis Masi, editor-in-chief Carbike 360. We are here to discuss about why Hyundai is filling the market share in India, and we'll get details in deep dive into this. So in Asis, for nearly 2 decades, Hyundai has default number 2 car maker in India. The brand built icons like Santro, i10, i20, and of course the Creta. Cars that practically defined their segments, but suddenly the narrative has changed. Mahindra is dominating the SUV. Tata Motors owns the EV. And Hyundai is trying to find out its foot again. Sales growth has slowed, rivals are stealing the attention, and the company is now betting on 45,000 crore in India of its own future. So the question is today is simple. Why is Hyundai losing grip on the Indian market today?
Well, I think Sagar, you've answered the question yourself. The question itself, when you say that Tata Motors has taken a huge leap in the EV space, if you see Tata Motors and Mahindra, both of them have come out of syllabus for Hyundai because they were not expecting Indian brands to deliver on technology, on tech, on features, and also on the production quality, because the production quality of these cars has gone up, the overall fit and finish has gone up, and people are now accepting these cars. Also, Hyundai has lost out big time on the EV space. Even though they were the first one to launch a mass market car, they launched the Kona in 2019.
Yeah.
But I think they took the Indian market very lightly in the EV space, which Tata Motors just before the lockdown took it seriously when they launched the Nexon way back in 2020. They launched the Nexon EV, and I think that was a big game changer for Tata Motors. Now, people in the EV space, whoever's buying a customer who's buying it, studies show that they want their cars to look unique, they want the cars to look different, and that's where both Tata and Mahindra also has taken a big leap. Mahindra specifically has taken a big leap last year with their BEVs. Both their BEVs are fantastic to look at, very good value,
Yeah.
and even they come with features, out of the box features like 3 screens, not 1 or 2 but 3 screens, which a lot of people think add value. That's something which gives people a feel good factor. That is something which Hyundai now is missing out on. Hyundai cars were known to be the best in the segment for sheer features. If you remember when the Creta came out, it had the best features list. Even cars like the i20, when they launched something as simple as a Bluetooth connected music system, even then, way back in the early 2010s, these cars were considered to be the leaders in features and tech. But that is one area where Hyundai now is falling back. And as I said before, both Mahindra and Tata has come out of syllabus for them, and they really don't have an answer. Yes, they have said that they will invest 45,000 crores, which shows the commitment to India, but that will be in the next 5 years. So by 2030, 2031, they'll have over 20 new models coming out. But for this year, for 2026, they don't really have any major new product as such. The new Creta also comes out towards the first part of 2027, because that's how the Hyundai Kia alliance works. They normally give each other about a breathing space of about 6 to 12 months, so that one partner sells their car first and the next one sells it after 1 year. So this year again, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for them to regain that place. They can do it, but coming back to number 2 is going to be a very difficult thing for Hyundai. They fall in terms of the market share from around 18-19% to around 12-13% right now, which is in terms of the overall percentage a big drop. In terms of the volume, their volume is more or less the same what they were doing last year. It's gone up by about 7-8%, but in terms of the overall impact on the market and the sheer size of the market, it's not really a big jump. So that's the problem for Hyundai. They don't have new products, they don't have exciting cars, and they don't have any new exciting tech to sell to the customer.
Got it. So let's get straight to it. Hyundai used to be the most exciting car brand in India. Today it feels slightly predictable. Is Hyundai actually losing ground?
Well, I think Hyundai is not losing any ground as such. The problem for Hyundai is that their biggest seller is the Creta. Out of around 55,000 units, which Hyundai does on a very monthly basis, 18,000, 19,000 units are the Creta in itself. So about 35-40% sales of the entire Hyundai lineup is coming from the Creta, and the venue sells about 8,000, 10,000, 11,000 units at best. So if these two cars, if their sales even half, you can imagine then Hyundai will be in trouble, because these two cars predominantly are, selling over 50% of Hyundai sales. The extra is not selling very much. I mean, they do sell 4,000 units about every month. The Grand i10 again 3,000, 4,000 units every month. The i20 again is not selling that much as they would have liked, and the Verna is selling about 1,500 units, 1,200 units. So apart from the Creta and the Venue, the new Venue, they don't really have big volumes, and that is, I think, in part a big problem for them, because when you look at the main competition, cars, manufactured like Maruti, all their cars are selling except maybe one or two models. If you look at Mahindra, they have the Scorpio, they have the Thar, they have the XUV.
All the models are selling.
All the models are selling good numbers, and even if one model drops off, they have something else coming up. But that's not the case with Hyundai. The Creta is their flagship car right now, and the problem can be seen from the fact that the Alcazar, which is much more competitive priced than the Creta, doesn't sell as much as the Creta sells. So even though it's a flagship, even though it's an icon for them, but apart from that car, really there's no other Hyundai which people want to buy. Venue, yes, you can say, because people who think it's a smaller version of the Creta do buy it. The excitement, the lack of excitement, as I said before, is because Hyundai is playing it too safe. The Creta EV, for example, which should have been a very different looking car, which should have been a car which would have been exciting, it looks exactly like the regular Creta. So people, don't have that excitement when they look at it, because as I said, customers who want to buy EV, they want to experiment, they want to look different, they want their EVs to be the talking point at a party. Just have a look at the MG Windsor, for instance.
Yeah.
They have the BAS, the battery as a service system, when they as a service, and when they buy that car, it's very affordable initially. So these innovations are lacking from Hyundai side in terms of the customer, experience, and I think that's really hitting them hard.
If you'll see, they are some way having very good numbers worldwide in the EV segment, but India they could not crack it well. Is that taking Indian market very as primitive for EV? Is that the wrong thing that Hyundai did for India, or do you think some other strategy which has gone wrong on the EV bit of it?
I think in terms of the pricing, their pricing, they can't match Mahindra and Tata in terms of the pricing, even though there are lots of talks that there is a Venue which they might launch as an EV. There's a lot of rumor about that, a lot of gossip about that. They're of course going to launch a new EV next year. It's going to be a compact SUV, but that'll only come around 2027. Chances are that car still will not be as competitive as the Tata Nexon is EV. So, the pricing has been the problem for them. If you even see how Maruti has priced their e-Vitara, it's undercutting the Creta by at least 2.5-3 lakh rupees spec to spec, which again shows you how dominant Maruti is in terms of pricing and the volumes. Even though the volumes are not going to be there for Maruti because they say we have limited capacity for that car, but still it just shows you, just see how MG has desperately sold the Windsor with their battery as a service option. It just shows innovation, it just shows out of box thinking, and it just shows that when you want to push a product, you can do it. And you're right, I think they're lacking that creativity in selling their EVs. They only have one major EV. Of course, the Ioniq was there, but Ioniq now isn't selling in the numbers it used to, and they have a new Ioniq coming out most probably early next year, end of this year.
Now coming into SUV, you have covered it to a certain extent, but Creta used to be one of the best selling SUVs and more adaptive SUVs in Indian market. But the narrative has changed by Mahindra in the recent times.
Correct.
And to certain extent by Tata is also with the launch of Sierra, even and other vehicles like Safari. Harrier is not doing that well right now. But what's wrong strategy that Hyundai took for SUV segment?
Well, I think they've banked only on one SUV, that's the Creta. They have the Alcazar as well, which doesn't sell in large numbers. But if you look at their main rival who took them, overtook them as number 2, the Mahindra cars, all of their cars have emotional appeal. They have a certain emotional appeal about the design, emotional appeal about the looks, the road presence. And I think Tata and Mahindra very successfully, their marketing teams have done a superb job by marketing them as homegrown, made in India cars, made in India. There's this, when you go on YouTube comments, you can see Desh Ka Loha, and that's how they marketed their cars, and people are buying into it. Also, on the safety angle, both Tata and Mahindra really have built up a strong reputation of making cars which are safe and solid. Hyundai only had the Verna till recently, and now they've of course the Venue, which has got the 5-star safety rating. The Creta's safety rating isn't that great compared to the rivals. So that's another area where people, it could still sell in big numbers, but people still prefer to buy a rival car, maybe from, let's say, a Mahindra or maybe a Tata, when they see that safety rating as well. And rivals have caught on Hyundai now in terms of the features.
Yeah.
That was a big thing earlier. Digital screens, panoramic sunroof, electric seats, cool front seats, dual zone climate control. These were features which were very exclusive to Hyundai cars. These were feel good features which people really loved. But now even Mahindra and Tata are offering them. In fact, Tata is offering it even on the Punch. They're offering cool seats even on the Punch, something which the Extra doesn't have. So that's again something where the rivals have been taken on. They've learned from Hyundai and they're doing a better job at it now.
Yeah, so Hyundai is facing a brand crisis problem, I guess. So, and because once upon a time Hyundai was the technology leader, right? Today they are the same technologies, narratives has been taken up very actively by the competitors.
Correct.
So what's the view, what do you think that exactly the problems would be?
Well, I think apart from the technology angle also, if you see Sagar, the fuel angle, Hyundai does sell all fuels. They have diesels, they have petrols, they have non-turbos, turbos, but their CNG lineup is missing. They don't have a very large list of CNG cars, unlike Maruti, unlike Tata. Tata really has taken the CNG.
The Extra has CNG, right?
Extra has CNG. They have a few other cars which have CNG, but flagship cars like the Brezza has CNG option at the factory fitted level. Even the Nexa range now has factory fitted CNG. Popular cars apart from the Swift, the Desire has CNG. So all the cars from Tata and Maruti, who are main rivals, offer you a CNG option, but still that's one area where Hyundai is lacking. That's something which customers now, with the high fuel prices, especially right now with the Middle East war, fuel prices are going to rise, and that's something that Hyundai needs to seriously look at. Fitting CNG cars across the range. The Creta should have CNG because the Victoris has that. Even the Sierra is going to come out with CNG soon. They should also have it on the Venue because the Brezza has it, the Nexon has that. So that is clearly one area where they're missing. Extra, yes, it does have a CNG option, but that is something that they launched after the Punch came out, after the Punch CNG came out. So now they're not leading from the front, but they're trying to catch up with the competition. They're trying to catch up and do things which the competition is doing. Unlike Tata and unlike Mahindra, which have 3 screens on some of their cars, that's something still missing on Hyundai. It might be gimmick, it might just be gimmicky feature, but people like it and people go to the showroom just to check it out sometimes. And that is something that Hyundai is missing out on. And also, if you see a Maruti, they have 2 mid-size SUVs now. They have the Victoris and they have the Grand Vitara. That is something which Hyundai doesn't have. They only have the Creta.
Yeah.
Maruti also has the Brezza and the Fronx. So in case you don't want the Brezza, you can buy the Fronx. That is something again Hyundai is missing out on. They have only the Venue. The Extra, yes, you can say, but the Extra is a product from a lower range.
Low range.
It's more like a Punch rival rather than a Fronx rival. And really, the competition is beating them on all fronts, be it tech, be it the fuel options, be it the looks, or be it even the feel-good factor, which Hyundai was known for. Kia itself, sister brand, is doing very well in terms of the interiors. I think the Kia cars which are coming out, the Seltos, has fantastic quality inside, better than the Creta. Even the Sonet, which we tested, even the Syros, which hasn't done so well, the cabin quality is one step ahead of Hyundai, which at one point of time was known to have the best cabins in terms of quality and the features. So even their own sister concern now is beating them when it comes to pure quality, when it comes to features, when it comes to feel-good factor. And when you're paying an amount of 20 lakh rupees on a car, you want those things. You want to feel good inside a car. That's where I think Hyundai now is slightly starting to fall behind.
So, us is the 45,000 crore gamble, which brings us to Hyundai's massive investment plan by 2030. Right? That's not small commitment. Is Hyundai coming with that strategy?
Well, Hyundai is definitely committed to India. There's no two ways about it. 45,000 crore was announced last year, and they've also done a very good thing. They've given an Indian the job at the top. Tarun Garg has taken over early this year, and that means that they know that Indian talent understands the market very well, and the Indian talent is best to lead the company right now. Now they're going to launch a lot of cars. Hyundai has the potential to regain that number 2 slot. There's no two ways about it. They can come back. Their product strategy, their new product lineup will start coming out from 2027, end of 2026. They'll have new cars. Most likely the Creta, a new version will come out by the end of this year or early 2027. Then they have the compact SUV, which will be one step below the Venue, one step above the Extra. So now they're trying to fill up the niches, the niche within the niche segment, and of course they'll have other multiple options as well. Now they'll also focus on EVs in the future. How affordable will they be and what the pricing will be, they haven't announced as yet. But one thing is for sure, that with so much investment and so much commitment to the market, they definitely have the capacity to bounce back, and they also have the volume. So I think they have the tech, they have the commitment, and they have definitely got the money to back up everything, and I think they should do well, and it really does bode well for the customer eventually, because a company like Hyundai should do well for India, and that means that the customer has multiple choices, and that's something which SUV lovers should really look forward to.
So you're saying Hyundai's new product strategies, which are going to be launched by the end of 2026 and 2027, which is initial period new Creta launch, is there a defense shield that will create for them for the roadway of 2030?
Definitely, I think Sagar, the main Korean company, the parent company, is very, very positive about India, and if they were not, they would have not shown so much investment into India. Also, they're going to use India as an export hub. That's something that they're very keen on. So these cars which are made here, they go to Europe, they go to all the countries where the competition is even tougher than India. The margins sometimes can be even worse than India. So they're very they're taking a very approached angle to all of this investment, and I think that Hyundai has the tendency, they can easily bounce back. They might not immediately come back to number 2, but whatever they've slipped in the last couple of years, they've really slipped in the last 2 years. They can make a comeback using their best of tech, best of design, and of course the best of features that they have to offer. What will these things be? Only time will tell. What will these cars be? They haven't given us any specifics. They're also planning to launch the Genesis brand. That's going to be their flagship, like a Lexus. Yeah. So once that comes in, I think that little bit of excitement which is lacking in the brand will come back. And once that excitement comes back, I think their sales will again rise. And who knows, they might again come back to that number 2 slot very soon.
So thank you, Assis. Thank you for giving insight as Hyundai and Hyundai's plan for 2030. I think Hyundai is not weak, but the competition has become brutally strong.
Correct.
The next decade will decide whether Hyundai reclaims its leadership or becomes just another big player in a much tougher market. Let us know in the comments, is Hyundai losing its edge in India? And also let us know what's the next topic that we should take in our next podcast coming on Saturday. Thank you so much. Thank you, Assis, for participating.
Thank you, Sagar, for your time. Thanks so much. And I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and do let us know what other topic you'd like us to cover on this podcast.
Thank you.